day yesterday was. Black Monday again. I guess we all knew it was coming. Housing prices are way over the odds. People aren't earning as much money. Debt's all-time highs. Anyway, it was a huge day yesterday on the markets. As I'm sure we all know at this point, the Bank of America failed. Bankrupt. Totally out of the blue for most of us. Because that's triggered a massive recession all around the world. Stock markets have plummeted, yes, just plummeted. 10 to 25% off all the markets. People are hoping it's a correction, but it looks really bad. And hopefully it'll work its way through, but the longer it takes for a recession to hit, the worse it is. And we've not really had one since 2008, 2009. So it's been a good 10 years. And for recessions, that's an awful long time. Everybody's hoping it doesn't end up getting into a depression, but who knows, right? I had taken some steps to protect myself, but I don't know if they were enough at this point. Anyway, let's see what the news has been saying.
This is going to be one of the watershed days in financial markets history.
It was a manic Monday in the financial markets. The Dow tumbled more than 500 points. Secretary Henry Paulson tried to reassure investors today.
The American people can remain confident in the soundness and the resilience of our financial system. I never once considered that it was appropriate to put taxpayer money on the line.
Of course, the truth of it is there is no taxpayer money to put on the line. The banks are too big to fail, but they have to fail if they're broke because everybody's got no cash to put into it. Saudi Arabia has basically stopped putting money into the bonds market and has retreated economically, which has participated and exacerbated the mortgage-backed collapse of the Bank of America. And who knows where this one's going to go. I mean, you can sound as upbeat as you want, but I don't know if this is a great scenario.
Would have required an $85 billion subsidy to keep afloat. Overall, I estimate it's going to cost at least $400 billion if you wanted to bail out the whole bunch. They're certainly not worth it. It's better to let them fail.
Some people say this doesn't stop until the housing hits bottom. You think that's true?
I think that's probably correct.
Veteran trader Art Cashin believes there could be more casualties.
This is the fifth time we've seen this movie. And you sit on the edge of your seat and you yell at whichever character it is, don't go into that woodshed, but they keep going in.
It's those big corporate institutions that are most directly impacted by the bankruptcy. So what will happen to the assets that are left?
He actually has $600 billion worth of assets. Some of those profitable ones, and there are some, will get sold off. The others will get divided up in bankruptcy court, and that could take years. It's important to note here, Katie, that one reason the Fed and the Treasury did not inject government money was that they thought many of their clients had time to anticipate all this.
Of course, the Bank of America's assets are actually dropping, along with the stock prices everywhere. Like, everywhere's dropping, everywhere's running scared. There's talk of cutting interest rates, but interest rates are only at like 2% anyway. There's talk of increasing interest rates because to try and raise some capital to try and keep the banks afloat. It's a huge, big mess. I know the G20 is meeting urgently with both the leaders and the finance secretaries to try and come up with a global plan to help cope with the recession. It seems to me that with the trade wars and the arguments and the petty fighting that's been going on for the last year or more, that it could well be that there's no actual real plan that emerges from all of these talks, and it will be, like that trader says, it'll be what it'll be and it won't stop till everything collapses and then it rebuilds again, which is kind of how capitalism in the modern world works. Capitalism, extractive, no waste products, collapse, rebuild. Anyway, it's going to be an interesting few months ahead, and what I'll do is I'll go through how it's affecting me next week, and so you can see how it's working in terms of finance, because I still don't know what I'm going to do or how it's going to affect me at this point. And that's the enemy of the market. Uncertainty is the enemy of the market, and boy, do we have uncertainty right now. Of course, the poor are getting hit really bad, especially the poorer parts of the world, and this is just something that I found this week online about how some people are coping with this in the Philippines, and it's pretty dire to have to do this to survive, but I guess people will do what they have to do. seems like all the big high street firms are just collapsing. Nobody's spending anything right now at all, and people are trying to get cash wherever they can and closing out assets, but it's a firestorm. I mean, I'm holding what I've got because I don't see much point in trying to raise capital right now when the markets are collapsing, but already there's been huge layoffs, Macy's, and any job that seemed to be a government job, low paying, hard work, but secure, is getting huge numbers of people applying for it. The unemployment rate's going to be a lot higher next month than it is this month. We've had pretty much full employment in the West for a long time now. I think that's going to change. I think that's going to really, really change.
News about the nation's job market only gets worse day by day. Macy's now plans to eliminate 7,000 positions. And look what happened when the Miami Fire Department posted just 35 jobs. More than 1,000 people turned out to apply. If you have a job, but you don't like the job you're in, what's your advice?
Well, even if you're frustrated with your job, this is a time when you have to hold on to that job. You've got to wave the company flag. You've got to prove that you're indispensable. Because if they start to see you're looking, then maybe they'll say, here's someone else who wants a job in a layoff. Why should we keep the person who's open to looking? And think about it. There are a lot of people out there who'd like your job.
In case anybody forgets, we've already got a lot of homeless and a lot of poverty in the West. Canada's no exception to that. And they're really going to get hit if the government's not able to maintain welfare services and food banks. I mean, already the food banks in Toronto are appealing for extra food because of huge spike in demand over the last week, and at the same time donations are plummeting. This is really, really dire, and the only outcome from this is going to be a continued collapse, I think. Luckily, as a prepper, I've got food and stuff like that. I've got a fair amount of cash reserves stored up, so I feel that I can survive a little whiles with this type of a scenario, but I'm really not sure if I can survive for years in this type of a scenario. This is going to have a huge ripple effects in every aspect of life, and I just don't know. I don't know where we go from here. Hopefully it'll trickle down and things will get better and we'll all be okay, but I don't know. I may end up like these people. So might you.
People are treated differently no matter what. Because, well, just because we're viewed as subspecies. Homeless people are just people that are down on their luck. You know, that have lost their job or lost their apartment.
Before we went to Safeway to get water, we used to just get it like out of restrooms or, you know, a public place at the dog pound, wherever we could get water. Safeway is basically the only place that doesn't give us a hard time about it or, you know, say anything to us.